Hey guys, how's it going? I'm gonna need some courage oil for this. Let's listen to a little Dropkick Murphys for a minute while I slather up. Alright, so here we go. Let's talk. A lot of you guys have asked, golly, why am I so nervous? Okay, let's just stop that nervousness now. Okay, here we go. A lot of you guys have asked, why Boston? Hey, Keisha, I'm assuming it's you, Keisha, on here. And I keep thinking about that, why Boston, why Boston? And here's my answer I give to you guys when you've asked. Well, when God calls you to a place, or like, what makes Boston so great is, I think, the biggest question you guys have asked. And hey, Barb, and I keep thinking about that, and I'm like, oh, I gotta tell you guys my story. So it's time. We haven't told most people this story of really why we're here. And I asked my husband for permission, and he's like, it's time. It's time to share with people. So here we go. Dang, I am so like, whew. Okay, stop my nonsense. Why Boston? Let's dive in. Right? Obvious reason is you feel like you're walking through history everywhere you go. We've been in the city proper so many times since we've been here in the last 3 weeks. And it's like, I mean, you see Paul Revere's house, you see the Boston Harbor. My kids, we have tons of history sentences that we've memorized about this city. This is where it all began. So it's super cool to be in history, like living history constantly. And then of course there's Fenway. You guys, I liked the Boston Red Sox before we even came here, just because, I mean, come on, it's Boston Red Sox. The curse was broken and it's history. It's just like why I like the Bruins. I was always a Kings fan and kind of a Stars fan, but it's the Bruins, man. It's the original six. And so you think about sports. If you're a sports person, they got it all here. The Celtics, I'm like, you know. And then, of course, this is really bad for my waistline, but Mike's Pastry or Modern Pastry. There's a little bit of a disparity of which is better. If you talk to the locals, some of them will get pretty feisty and be like, Modern is the best because Mike's makes their cannolis like days before. It's crap. They will literally tell you Mike's Pastry is crap. I'm like, okay, we'll go to Modern. But there's that. So those are the biggies. Those are the things that when people say, oh, I'm going to Boston, where should I hit? All the historical stops, go to a sports game, for sure a Fenway game, and then hit up Mike's Pastry or Modern or North End or what have you. But here's the deal. Here's the real reason why Boston. And what's so great about Boston. Guys, like attracts like, doesn't it? And when I first was telling people I was taking my daughter to Boston for her 13th birthday, if you don't know the story, that's how we actually first realized we were called here. I took my Eden for her 13th birthday on a trip here. And I'm going to warn you, if you have little ones listening, I'm about to use a word that you probably don't want them to know. So either mute it, push pause, tell them to scooch, but it's relevant. So when we first came here, there were a lot of people who were like, okay, Jen, now mind you, these are all people from the South. They were like, they're actually called massholes. I'm like, what? That's the reputation that the people of Massachusetts has, is being ugly. So I'm like, all right, I'm prepared. Pretty straightforward. That's actually not the thing. In my opinion, here's what I will tell you. I have offended more people in the South because of how I talk to people. And then I realized, oh, I just talk to people like people from the East Coast. It's probably because my family lived here twice. And the rest of my family's from Chicago. So they're pretty straightforward. That's all. In Massachusetts, you just know where you stand with people. And they are so stinking polite. Like so polite, they're rude about it. Meaning, so pedestrians have the right of way. Here's an example. And so if you are a pedestrian and you're about to cross, the car will like, like slam on its brakes and be like, come on, I stopped for you. You're like, okay, I'm sorry. That's all. They're real. They tell you how it is. They're so nice. Guys, we've been here 3 weeks and I cannot tell you. And the family and I, we've been here several times before that. They're so nice here. I mean, our neighbors, this never happened to us in Texas. My husband has been outside. Our neighbors come out in droves like, hey, how are you? You're new, da-da-da. They're nice here. So nice. But there's something more. So when Eden and I first landed, I was like, I love this place and I don't know why. Every person I talked to, I just, almost like I wanted to cry. And now this might totally sound a little woo-woo or weird to a lot of you, and I don't really care. That's fine. You see why I love these people? But I sensed when I went home and I thought about it and prayed through it, I just had this sense that they were hurting. And so I dug a little deeper into this city. And what I realized is there's trauma, there's abuse, there's all these things that happened in the city. Now, there's the two biggies, right? There's 9/11, and then there's the Boston bombings. Those are some big deals, obviously. Those are probably things that you all have heard about. But there's something else about this city that you may not know about, and that's okay. But it's why God's called my family here. See, what you probably don't know is that I have a similar story to some of the folks in Boston. I have sexual abuse in my past, which I've never shared with you guys on social media because really it's never been appropriate. And that's the story with the people of Massachusetts, or people of Boston. And I think this is why I'm nervous, is I need to tell you guys this story because you know me, if I have a story and it's about grief or about something that we can do something about, then I need to share it. In 2001, and here's the deal, if you guys watch the movie Spotlight. That'll give you a picture into it. In 2001, the Boston Globe broke open a story about sexual abuse that happened primarily within the Catholic Church. Hear me, my friends. If you are Catholic, I am not slamming an entire organization. I'm not. I'm just speaking truth. Guys, if this has happened in churches across America still. And so I'm probably going to do a topic or Facebook Live about this specific topic later. This is just all about why Boston. Okay, hear me. And so in 2001, they broke open this story that had been buried for 30 years. Guys, there were children who were abused by folks within the church. And at that time, they partnered with the police and swept all this stuff under the rug. What I know now about sexual abuse and families, that when you come to your family and you say, this has happened, they don't know what to do. And they freak out. And they're in disbelief a lot of times. And so the person of abuse, the person who has been abused, is the one who's the bad guy. It happened to me. Guys, when I was in my 20s, I shared this with family, and my family rejected me. My family thought I was lying. And I'm not saying this to throw my family under the bus. I know my family may be watching this, and please hear me. I am not angry or anything, but I need you to know that on the other side of it, on the other side of forgiveness and God's mercy and grace, is beautiful. And there's so much pain in it, but there's so much healing that can come. And so when I learned this about Boston, so kids started coming forward, right, in 2001. These kids are now adults, right? So 30 years of abuse. This report in the Boston Globe broke it open. Thousands upon thousands of people came forward and said, me too. Yeah, me too. And as you guys know, that's why I put the hashtag me too. Because if you are a victim of sexual abuse, you are really scrutinized. There's a lot of like, really? That really happened? Because we don't want to think that somebody could do something so sinister to a little kid. But it happens. And so that was the thing. And after we watched the movie, we had a couple friends that live here, and we asked them, "Hey, is this a thing?" And she said, "Jen, here's the deal. They have a church here in Boston." And she said, "We have not met. We can't meet people who at least it didn't happen to, or they didn't have a close personal relative that it happened to." And so, oh my word, woo! I'm seeing your guys' comments, and I'm going to need to just be like this so that I can not do the ugly Oprah cry. And so I thought, okay, God, you have healed me completely of the trauma and the feelings and the unworthiness and the rejection and the thinking you're crazy and your whole family completely rejecting you because they think you're lying, because they can't believe that this person would do those things. But God has healed me. And as I prayed through it, I realized, God is showing me step by step, this is why you're called to Boston. Now, hear me. I am not on the street corner with my sign, "Have you been sexually abused? I can totally help you." Because that would be really weird and inappropriate, don't you think? But I was born for this community. Everything that has happened in my life, not just the sexual abuse, but guys, losing babies, understanding true pain and loss. There are people who lost family members from 9/11. I understand. I don't know what it's like to grow up a child, but then lose them to a tragedy. But I do know what it's like to feel a baby growing and then have it die. I get that. I know that pain. God has met us every single day in every single way. Last night we're on the subway. Okay, this is where I'm going to try not to ugly cry. But I met a sweet Scottish man. And if you are American and you're trying to speak to a guy with a Scottish accent, you're like, what? We're on the subway going to the Red Sox game, and there's just tons and tons of people, and his Scottish accent was so thick, and he's just talking to me. And he was so sweet. And he's telling me his life story. And then he's telling me about his son. He's meeting his son for the game. And I said, "Do you have any other children?" And he's like, "I do, but he died 6 years ago of a brain tumor." And I'm like, "I'm so sorry." And the pain, you guys, that I saw in his sweet, wrinkled face. And I just was like, God, I'll never forget George. George is on my prayer list right here. George will always be in my mind just because I know he must still hurt. 6 years later, he lost his baby boy of a brain freaking tumor. You know how I feel about that. It's just that I attract people who need healing. It's just how God wired me. And so that's how it's happening. So Boston isn't just an amazing city. It's just a place that Mark and I and the kids were called to because of our story, because of what we've walked through and what God has done. We have something to share, and we just are going to do life here. So as people say, well, what's so great about Boston? It's really no different than any other city. It's just that we love these people because of what most of them have walked through. Thousands and thousands have experienced unnecessary pain, and really we can help them. You guys know I do Aroma Freedom Technique. I do trauma release and emotional healing and all of that. And I have been able to learn and practice and grow in that craft in the safety and in the comfort of Texas. And so now we're here and we're ready to be able to do that. But here's my challenge for you guys. This isn't just about me. This is about you all. And as you say, what's so great about Boston? Can I ask you guys, where are you called? This is just where my family is called. And pretty soon we're going to do like an MTV Crib style picture of our house, because then you can just see, oh yeah, God just handpicked this house for us, handpicked where we're meant to live and the healing that will happen in our home. But where are you called to? Are you living in exactly the place that you long for? For 2 years, if you would have asked me, what do you like about Boston? I would have totally verbally vomited everything that I think and feel and know about Boston and everything I love about these people for as long as you would listen. And I probably would have been ugly crying, and I probably would have needed some trauma life, because I longed so much for these people. You guys, it felt like when I left Selah Jane in the NICU, I hurt so much to be with them, to just hug an entire city. Are you in a place where you absolutely love those people that you're with, that you're ministering to? Or are you living in a place you're like, it's not my favorite, but it'll do? We were in a 2-year holding pattern. We grew up in 2 years to be in a place that we could pour out, right? We got poured into, now we can pour out. Our life and our circumstances, the universal hour, all of us guys, are not just about growing us. Guys, once God grows us, once He refines us, once He heals us from tremendous pain and hurt, we are morally obligated to share. Mark and I and the kids could live here 50 years, and maybe not one person would be better off because we were here. But we got to try, and God called us. And so as we share with people, who knows that one word that we speak, one hug, one like, dude, I see you, I love you, I know a God who loves you like you can't even know. Maybe that's all they need to hear. Who knows? Where's a place that you're supposed to share? What are your life circumstances? Did you grow up totally dirt poor and now have buckets of money and you can share with people financial freedom? What about you? Guys, are you living in a city that you love? Hear me. It's not selfish to love the place God called you to. There was a lot of interesting comments that we've had. Well, you sure God called you that? I mean, of course, you've got the Red Sox. It's an amazing city. A lot of people love this city. But here's what I know. When God calls us to places like Africa or China, those people who are called love those people. Like I love the people of Boston. Or I should say the Northeast, because I feel like all these folks, I love them so very much. And so I think a lot of times when we're thinking about where we're called, we feel selfish. Like, well, I want to go, I long for Hawaii. Dude, people there need Jesus. They need healing. They need emotional releasing. Believe me, I told the Lord that when I found out, like, do you see the weather up here? It's not selfish if it's something that God called you to. He's not a God that makes us go to crap places. He's not. He calls us to where our hearts are burdened for. So I'll ask you again for like the 5th time. Are you living where you are called? I'll do you one better. Are you doing the job that you were called to? Whoa, that's another topic for another day, because some of us are so stuck financially, we can't ever think of doing what we love. I hope that explains why Boston. I hope it gives a voice. My prayer all day has been to give a voice to someone who has been abused. I feel you. I get you. I've been there. I'm on the other side of healing and of loving completely unconditionally. It's possible, my friends. All right, take care, everybody.